In the October 27 episode of General Hospital, the Quartermaine mansion once again became the stage for both warmth and warfare, a reminder that beneath the chandeliers and fine china, no relationship is ever simple in Port Charles. Brooke Lynn Quartermaine's decision to host a tea party for Ronnie was meant to be a gesture of family unity, but it ended up exposing hidden fractures within the household, igniting old rivalries, and introducing suspicions that could alter everything Monica once stood for. Brooke Lynn's heart was in the right place. She wanted to honor Monica's memory by welcoming Ronnie, the woman believed to be Monica's long-lost sister. The tea party was an old-fashioned affair filled with delicate cups, lace napkins, and an air of forced civility. But what began as an attempt at reconciliation quickly turned into a showcase of ego, humor, and buried resentment. The chemistry between Ronnie and Tracy was undeniable, part nostalgia, part rivalry, echoing the fiery clashes once shared by Monica and Tracy themselves. Ronnie, brought to life with disarming wit and vulnerability, oscillated between warmth and razor-sharp honesty. When she described Tracy as stressed, frigid, and completely sexless, it wasn't merely an insult. It was a masterstroke of Quartermaine-style provocation that reminded everyone why this family never stays calm for long. Yet beneath the humor, the writers seeded something far more complex, the unspoken question of whether Ronnie's presence was a blessing or a ticking time bomb. Tracy, of course, was never one to let her authority be challenged. To her, Ronnie represented a stranger claiming a piece of the family legacy, a woman arriving conveniently after Monica's passing with letters as her only proof of kinship. While others, like Brooke Lynn, saw a chance for healing, Tracy saw deception, and perhaps, she wasn't entirely wrong. Monica's will had already stirred confusion, leaving Ronnie in possession of the Quartermaine estate, while Tracy received little more than a symbolic jar of pickle relish. That perceived insult still burned, and when Ronnie's tea party ended with suspicions of drugging, the house once again divided itself between loyalty and paranoia. Drew Kane, who had recently alienated much of the family by enforcing a restraining order that prevented young Danny from seeing his sister Scout, arrived just in time to worsen the atmosphere. His arrogance and moral hypocrisy didn't sit well with Ronnie, who saw through his self-righteousness and promptly kicked him out of the mansion. That moment, while humorous to viewers, carried the sting of truth. Ronnie had assumed the role of guardian of Monica's legacy, defending the emotional integrity of the household even as she remained its most contested member. As the episode unfolded, other layers of intrigue emerged. Laura Collins, ever the voice of reason and quiet empathy, told Ronnie that Monica's decision to leave her the house wasn't about inheritance but belonging, a symbolic invitation into the family she was long denied. Laura's words softened the room for a moment, but the air soon thickened again with suspicion. Many fans began to question whether Ronnie had truly been the victim of foul play or whether she might have set up the tea party scandal herself. After all, she had been reluctant to host it, wary of inviting Tracy under the same roof. Theories swirled that Ronnie, perhaps fearing Tracy's influence, had orchestrated the drugging incident to frame her rival and eliminate opposition once and for all. It was a theory that fit the Quartermaine pattern perfectly, family disputes wrapped in layers of deceit and self-preservation, yet it didn't align with Ronnie's demeanor. Her vulnerability seemed too authentic, her confusion too real. The true darkness, if there was any, likely lay elsewhere. Enter Martin Gray, a name that has quietly become synonymous with opportunism in Port Charles. His presence at the tea party was both coincidental and suspicious. He arrived under the flimsy pretext of delivering Lulu's phone, yet his real motivation seemed rooted in curiosity or calculation. Martin was the first to take a deep interest in Monica's alleged sister, the first to discover the mysterious letter that legitimized Ronnie's claim. He was also a man with motive. Tracy had humiliated him publicly, targeted him through his ex-wives, and left him financially drained. If anyone had reason to rewrite Monica's will or stage chaos at the Quartermaine estate, it was Martin. His smirk when questioned, his evasive answers, and his tendency to appear at the wrong place at the right time only deepened suspicions. While Ronnie's kindness toward Brooke Lynn felt genuine, Martin's motives reeked of manipulation. It would not be out of character for him to have forged Monica's documents, rewritten the terms of inheritance, and used Ronnie as an unknowing pawn in a larger scheme. Still, not everyone was ready to condemn him. Ronnie's personality mirrored Monica's so closely that even skeptics found themselves emotionally invested. Her sharp humor, moral backbone, and refusal to let the Quartermaine chaos consume her made her instantly likable. She defended Brooke Lynn's idealism, stood up to Drew's arrogance, and reminded Tracy that wealth without compassion was meaningless. She may have been flawed, but she felt real, which made the growing tension around her even more tragic. The tea party, which began with laughter and playful jabs, ended with paranoia, spilled tea, and whispered accusations. The idea that Monica's own sister could be part of a scheme against the family haunted Brooke Lynn, who had only wanted to bring everyone together. Meanwhile, Tracy's insistence that something was wrong, that the will had been tampered with, that Monica's voice was being manipulated from beyond the grave, began to sound less like bitterness and more like intuition. By the episode's end, the house had turned silent, with each resident lost in thought. Ronnie sat alone in the living room, clutching one of Monica's old teacups, the symbol of a family she desperately wanted to belong to but might never truly be accepted by. Brooke Lynn lingered nearby, unsure whether to offer comfort or ask questions. Martin's absence went unnoticed, but his fingerprints seemed to linger everywhere. Laura's wisdom, Tracy's fury, and Brooke Lynn's heartbreak all collided into a single truth: the Quartermaine name may promise power, but it never guarantees peace. Monica's mansion had once been a home built on legacy and pride, now it was a labyrinth of suspicion and ghosts. As fans reflected on Erica Slezak's final performance as Ronnie, there was both admiration and sadness. Her exit seemed to mirror the themes her character embodied: grace under scrutiny, love tangled with betrayal, and the eternal question of who truly belongs in a family defined by chaos. When she arrived, many doubted her sincerity; when she left, even her enemies felt the void. The emotional resonance of her scenes, especially with Tracy and Brooke Lynn, made the episode one of the season's most powerful tributes to the legacy of the Quartermaines. Yet her departure also left behind unanswered questions: who truly altered Monica's will? Was Martin acting alone, or did he have help? And what happens when Tracy finally proves she was right all along? For longtime viewers, the October 27th episode was more than just another chapter. It was a reminder of how General Hospital thrives when it leans into family legacy, moral ambiguity, and the battle between heart and ambition. It was a story of inheritance not just in wealth, but in character, of how Monica's warmth and Tress's fire live on in those who remain, even as betrayal brews in the background. The mansion, for all its grandeur, continues to echo with laughter, accusations, and the ghosts of its past. And as the lights dim on Ronnie's time in Port Charles, one truth stands clear. In the Quartermain world, every cup of tea comes with a side of poison, literal or otherwise.